Hey Giants fans, Nick Filato with Big Blue View here to break down some of these defensive mishaps against the Washington football team on that devastating Thursday night football 30-29 loss at FedEx Field. It was not a great look for this Giants defense, although they did force several 3-and-outs, but when it really mattered, they could not come through, and it just seems like the middle of the field is open quite often, as is the quick game of opposing offenses. It happened against Teddy Bridgewater, and it happened again against Taylor Heineke. I wish we saw a little bit more pressure, 5-man pressure packages from Patrick Graham in this game. He didn't blitz all that often against a undersized quarterback that doesn't have a lot of reps under his belt. But that's neither here nor there. Let's dive into some of these plays. The Giants overall surrendered 407 yards in this game, 336 of which came off the arm of Taylor Heineke. So right here, I want you to pay attention to the route combinations you're going to see on this play. This is the first third down of the game for this Giants defense. What we're going to get just two double ins here. Deep cross from Terry McLaurin. Logan Thomas is going to engage Jabril Peppers and drive him backwards. And then you're going to get just an out route from Jd Mckissick here. And he kind of extemporizes and moves it up here once he sees that the play has broken down. Let's run the tape and break it down real quick. See, cover one by the Giants. You have single high look there. Everything's covered up solidly. There's some space between Jd Mckissick and Tay Crowder. Pay attention to that. But Taylor Heineke never really gets to it. The coverage is really good. Both these in routes are covered well. Terry McLaurin is covered well. Taylor Heineke ends up getting sacked by Azeez Ojulari. Great play right there. This is on the first drive, mind you. Now, this play. Okay, I think we're all going to remember this play. This is the two-play 75-yard drive from Taylor Heineke that's set up by this long pass to who? Jd Mckissick. And look at the route concept real quick. Does this look familiar? Now, 13 stays on the line of scrimmage. He doesn't run an in. But what we get here, because they're in a 3-by-2 look, Tay Crowder on Jd Mckissick. We have Xavier McKinney on Logan Thomas. What does Jd Mckissick do? Just an out route. And watch how Tay Crowder, he's seen this before. He goes and he attacks that near hip of Jd Mckissick. And what does Mckissick do? He snaps his head, his shoulders, and his hips around as Crowder is kind of heading towards that hip. And the next thing you know, Jd Mckissick, who's a much better athlete than Tay Crowder, is in a much better position to get vertical and make this catch. And he outpaces Tay Crowder significantly. So let's watch that one more time, because this is just an out and up, and Crowder bites. Bites down this way. Mckissick goes this way, almost simultaneously. It's a beautiful play by Scott Turner and this Washington football team. Devastating for the Giants. Building plays off of each other and showing that kind of deception can be the difference between winning and losing football games. Now on this play, this is a coverage that the Giants have been trying out in the last 2 weeks of the season. It's an inverted cover 2 look. You start pre-snap with a middle of the field close type of look with Logan Ryan, but what ends up happening is he drops to a deep half, and then we have Adoree Jackson dropping to another deep half from a cornerback spot. And that's going to leave a huge vacated area for Darnay Holmes to cover in this generalized area. And we saw Teddy Bridgewater attack that pretty aggressively last week, and Taylor Heineke did the same thing on this play. You're going to get a little bit of a play action type of look here, which is going to suck these linebackers up. Then we're going to get a vertical concept here straight up the middle of the field open, which is going to draw the attention of both safeties. And then you're going to get another vertical concept here, and you're going to get a deep dig route, which we will see right now. Now check that out. See how that coverage manifested there? You're off right here, right? But we're going to get the rotation of the safety. Safety rotates to the weak side, and then we have Adoree Jackson bailing from what looked like maybe a deep third responsibility, or maybe just some sort of zone in that area. He bails to a deep half responsibility, and now it's Darnay Holmes' responsibility to cover all of this, and these linebackers were sucked up from that play action and don't necessarily have a lot of depth, so there's just a ton of space here. And Heineke locks on to Jd Brown and throws a high pass. It's not even a great ball there, and it's just plucked out of the air by Brown. But this inverted cover 2 hasn't worked out well for Patrick Graham and this defense through 2 games, and we'll go back to this Denver game last week, and we're going to see the same thing. We're going to get the rotation this direction here towards the strong side with Adoree Jackson, who has a lot of cushion here, dropping to this deep half responsibility. And you can see what ends up happening. Drops to the deep half, too high safety shell now, but what is that going to leave? Outside the numbers, there's no one there. Darnay Holmes has to cover so much room there, and he's put into a pretty disadvantageous situation, and his attention gets sucked up on this crossing route who's coming into his zone, although it didn't necessarily have to because this defender's driving down on that route. But you can see how Adoree Jackson is just put into a really tough spot right here with his momentum going upfield. And there's really no way he can do a speed turn or really cover this 7 route. It's just a really good route combination against this coverage for Teddy Bridgewater to hit KJ Hamler. And we saw the same thing with Taylor Heineke and his receivers on Thursday. Now here we get Logan Thomas split out wide, and he ends up bringing his split into a reduced type of stack off of Adam Humphries here. And we're going to get a switch release where Adam Humphries is going to run the 7 route and Logan Thomas is going to kind of come right underneath his stem, which is an outward leaning stem, to run this scissors type of concept. It's not necessarily a post, but it is somewhat of a bender towards the seam, and you could see how it kind of allows Washington to get an open receiver here because of the leak out from Antonio Gibson. So that's a beautiful throw right there over the top, and you could see how this initial release from Adam Humphries, it's outward leaning. Logan Thomas doesn't explode off the line of scrimmage, a little bit delayed to kind of basically stack himself over the top of Adam Humphries to create 2 different wide receivers / tight ends receiving threats, and these defenders have no idea where exactly they're going. So Humphries does the 7 route. Adoree Jackson is in position to eliminate that, but then this seam kind of bends right around this linebacker right here who is driving underneath on that little check down route because he sees that coming and he knows there's about 10 yards depth between himself and that threat, but that just allows enough space for Heineke to fit that ball up the seam. And the safety's right there to make a play on this. They're in a too high type of safety look. He's going for the middle of the field open, and he's bending it just enough to make that catch, hold on to the football. So that's a really nice catch and play design by Washington. Nice catch by Logan Thomas. Here's the devastating Ricky Seals-Jones touchdown. And I really like this play call from Scott Turner here at this part of the field. I mean, you're in the red zone, you're on the 20-yard line, and this is a vertical concept from a double Y set to the boundary with a stack splitting the numbers and the hash. And what you're going to get here is you're going to get the vertical seam against a too high defense. You're going to have 2 safeties high. You're going to get double vertical seams here that outwardly bend and then just kind of hit the seam just like this. And then you're going to have 2 out and ups from the receiver. And that's going to isolate out and up. That's going to isolate both of these cornerbacks against Ricky Seals-Jones and Jd Brown. Now watch the route concept. You can see how they both bend outward, not quite to the numbers, but just around those linebackers enough to probably provide a little bit of space for a quick throw from Taylor Heineke. But that's going to occupy the attention of both of these safeties, and rightfully so. But that's going to create these one-on-one matchups right out here. That's what happens down to the boundary. So now you can see Taylor Heineke sees that he has a 6'5" tight end who outweighs Adoree Jackson by about 35 to 40 pounds or whatever the heck it is, who's able to just go up and box out Adoree Jackson to make this play. And it's a great play by Ricky Seals-Jones, this journeyman tight end. But I really do like this play call too. I love the double seams at this part of the field to occupy two high safeties that create the isolation on the outside of both sides of the field. I mean, James Bradberry easily covers this up here to the field side. That would have been a very difficult throw if Taylor Heinicke attempted to make it. But right here, it's a one-on-one matchup, and Ricky Seals-Jones wins the positioning. Now we're going to have some short game, just quick game type of routes on these next couple plays. A lot of them have pre-snap motion incorporated, and it does a lot because if you even just look right here, the pre-snap motion, Blake Martinez focused on what's going on here. Is it going to be a little touch pass? Is it going to be a handoff in front? It just occupies the second level defenders enough. And because you have this fast running, fast two to this side, Blake Martinez has to over pursue, and that creates the space right here in this general area for Terry McLaurin to find an opening to make that catch, because Blake Martinez is clearing that space right there. You can see on this side, he's open because Reggie Ragland ends up coming on that blitz right there. And I mean, Taylor Heinicke does a good job just getting rid of the football here once he realizes the heat's coming on and kind of throwing hot. And another thing I like about this play from Washington's perspective, yes, you have the fast two here that's going to take away Blake Martinez, but Logan Thomas comes across the formation like he's going to block or possibly even leak out into the flat, and that occupies Lorenzo Carter's attention just long enough to allow this throw to happen. You can see how he has his eyes on Logan Thomas. Is he coming? Is he going to block? Is he in protection? Is he releasing into the flat? I have no idea. And then what happens once he gets sucked up towards the line of scrimmage to engage Logan Thomas? That opens up Terry McLaurin in that area of the field. James Bradberry is too far off here to make a play on Terry McLaurin. So good play design. And then we have an RPO on this play, and I want you to watch Blake Martinez here, because once Taylor Heinicke goes into the mesh point with Antonio Gibson, he gets moved towards the football, towards where the football would be on the line of scrimmage, which opens up the pass. You'll see right here. Quick slant, boom. And that all happens because Washington is pulling front side guard to the double Y side. They're pulling the center as well. It's a double puller G lead play out of shotgun. Difficult to defend, and that's going to move Blake Martinez in this direction enough to open up this area. All Terry McLaurin has to do is beat Jabril Peppers, and he does that fairly easily. Fires his feet, leans inside, uses that outside arm to swat the inside arm of Jabril Peppers downward just ever so slightly. And then you can see Blake Martinez at this point realizes that it is an RPO and not a handoff, that they are passing, and the window is right here. Pass complete. And you get a nice little gain there. It was a disappointing game. There's no doubt about it for the New York Giants. I do believe that they will bounce back. I trust in Patrick Graham. I trust in this defensive personnel. But I hope to see a little bit more pressure. I hope to see more communication on the back end. They need to do something about these RPOs. They need to do something about the quick game. Their man coverage hasn't been horrendous, but it hasn't been what a lot of people expected, and their zone coverage has had a lot of flaws. I expect with the extended week that Patrick Graham is going to come out and fix a lot of these flaws. We'll see on Sunday against Atlanta. Everybody, go check out Big Blue View, Big Blue View Radio. We do some great work over there. Thank you so much for watching all this, and let's go New York Giants.